Morning all, how are we? Another lovely rainy day in the Netherlands over here, and the mood is not great after the result last night against the French. However, we'll get onto that. So let's get things cracking. Denmark versus Tunisia. I have to say that I thought that we would probably win that one quite easily. I haven't really seen an awful lot of Tunisia before, but I don't think they've really been pulling up trees in the qualifiers. I was surprised. They came out, they defended resolutely. They shut us down. We played badly. Yeah, here's the team. Schmeichel in goal, Anderson, Kjær, and Christensen as centre-backs. Christensen on the right, Højbjerg, Delaney, Eriksson, Mæhle on the left, the other guys in the middle, Skol Olsen, Dolberg up front, and Eriksson, sorry. So you would have thought that that team should have enough quality to be able to beat a team like Tunisia. However, didn't really work. We were stale, lethargic. I have to say I didn't watch the full match due to the fact I was at work, but we did have it on in one of our meeting rooms, and we just didn't seem to get going. We didn't seem to have much of a chance. Unfortunately, Delaney got injured just before half time and has had to fly back to Denmark. I think it was something to do with his knee, which is a real shame because it's definitely going to be his last World Cup, as he's on the wrong side of 30. And yeah, Eriksson didn't turn up. Skol Olsen was terrible. Dolberg was awful. The only one who really came out with much credit was Schmeichel. Made an absolutely brilliant save to stop the Tunisians from scoring. And all in all, we were lucky to get a draw. Having looked at some of the other results, the Argentinians getting beaten by the Saudis, the Japanese getting beaten by the Germans. The Germans getting beaten by the Japanese. I didn't actually feel too bad going into yesterday's match, as has been said before. We beat them twice in the Nations League, in Gay Paris and also in Copenhagen. But yeah. So let's get on to that one. Denmark versus the French. And here's the team. Schmeichel, Anderson, Nelson comes in for Kjær, Christensen, the other Christensen, Mæhle, Højbjerg, Eriksson, Damsgaard, Cornelius, and Lindstrøm. So the first half highlights, one of the best ones was Christensen on Hernandez when he nutmegged him, putting in quite a nice ball, but no one was there. The French were all over us, but for some prolific finishing, they should have been 2 or 3-0 up in the first half, I thought. But we defended resolutely. Very lucky to get away with Christensen. Only Christensen, as in the one who used to play for the Rent Boys, only getting a yellow card for pulling down Mbappe. I think that was a red all day long. So we were kind of lucky with that. Mbappe wasted a few chances in the first half. And yeah, Cornelius put himself about, but not in the right way. Got booked. Maybe should have had a second yellow for stamping on, I think it was Rabiot's foot. But yeah, he was rightfully taken off at half time for Braithwaite. You probably don't know my feelings on Braithwaite, but him and Poulsen, I think, are about as useful as a chocolate teapot. I have no clue how he managed to play for Barcelona. I think Middlesbrough, when he was there, that was his kind of level. But we were pretty good in the second half. It was quite we were bright. But Mbappe and Dembele were just, I mean, they are world class. You've got to be a great team to stop them. And Mbappe opened the scoring with a brilliant goal. Højbjerg maybe should have been, well, it wasn't a brilliant goal, but Højbjerg maybe should have been able to stop that. But overall, Højbjerg he had a brilliant game. He was running the midfield. I was very, very happy with him. So after that, as I usually do when we go 1-0 down, whether it's Spurs or Denmark or whoever I'm supporting, I went out for a snout. Came back in, went into the kitchen to get a beer, came back to the television, 1-1. Absolutely quality goal from a corner, nodded on by Anderson, and there was Christensen, ex-Chelsea Christensen, to head the ball in. Hugo had absolutely no chance. Oh, and as I can see, one of the most boring matches in the World Cup. Having watched it from the start or listened to it from the start, Costa Rica have just gone 1-0 up against Japan. I mean, this World Cup is offering up so many surprises. I know a lot of people are not watching it due to the human rights issues, but it's some of the games have been pretty boring. But that's the World Cup for you a lot, isn't it? Teams don't want to lose, etc. But the surprises that have come out of it, it's just been, I think it's been exciting. And as I've said before, I'm watching it because Denmark don't get to very many World Cups, so I got to enjoy it while I'm still a spring chicken. Yeah, sorry. Hugo then made a great save from Lindstrom. Lindstrom was absolutely brilliant. I don't know why he was taken off. Maybe he was tired. But he's definitely one to watch. Attacking midfielder. Probably got too much quality in that area at Spurs for us to want to actually buy him. But he will, I think he plays for Frankfurt. So he played against us. He didn't play very well in the Champions League, but he looks like he's going to be one of the next best things coming through in the Danish team. Tushmani had a decent chance as well. Sorry about the pronunciation. Mela got in the way. I have to say I've been really disappointed with Mela and Damsgaard in this championship. After the Euros, where they single-handedly tore some teams apart, they've been really poor. Mela did not beat his man once yesterday. Damsgaard, he has really gone off the boil. He's gone from was it Atalanta or Fiorentina to Brentford. He's not even getting in the Brentford first team now. That was someone that I had really high hopes for, as I did for Scott Alderson, but he was dreadful in the first match. I think the Euros was a bit of an anomaly due to the fact what happened to Christian Eriksen. That seemed to galvanise us, and we went out there and we really gave it a good go. But we just looked knackered in the semi-finals against England, and the English won it convincingly, I would say. And we're very unlucky in the final. It's a real shame. I'm not one of those who's going to slag off Saka and was it Rashford as well, who missed, because they're young lads just starting out. And they did an awful lot to get the team there. But it was coming in the 85th minute. Sorry, I've gone on to the second half now. Mbappe at the far post. Nelson had no chance, and he bundled the ball past Schmeichel. I'm proud of the performance. The French are amazing. After seeing them play a couple of times, they absolutely ripped Australia apart after a bad start. And yesterday, as I said, we defended resolutely. Anderson and Chelsea Christensen were absolutely brilliant at the back in the centre. And then Leeds Christensen was, he was up there with as one of our best players. I did comment at half time if Leeds fancied swapping him for Royale. And yeah, I don't think that's going to happen somehow. But I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to a bigger team. Nelson didn't have a great game, but apparently he's highly rated. Liverpool supposedly looking at him. So overall, man of the match, Højbjerg ran the midfield for a lot of it, but I'm going to go with Leeds' Christensen. That nutmeg in the first half, the way that he harried and hassled Hernandez, and also his defending as well. He's up and down. He's a quality player, and I think Ajax are probably going to rue the day that they let him go. So it comes on to the last group game, the Aussies. I watched a little bit of them against the French. They started out really brightly. Great goal by Goodwin. The French then thought, hang on a minute, what's going on here? How are we getting beaten by the Australians? And just went into overdrive and completely overpowered them. But they got a decent win against the Tunisians yesterday, and it's going to be a tough one. I don't know how it's going to go because we're usually used to being the underdogs. Excuse me. In a game, and obviously Australia will be the underdogs. They don't have their so-called golden generation anymore. The last golden generation I can remember was probably Viduka and Kjell. In the last World Cup, we played them in the group stages, and being completely honest, they actually deserved to win that, but we managed to get a draw and we got through to the second round. We need to, if we play like we did against the French, I think we'll get a decent result. The predicted lineup for me will be Schmeichel, Anderson, Chelsea Christensen, Kjær, Leeds Christensen, Mæhle, Højbjerg, Eriksen, Dolberg, Cornelius, and Damsgaard. I think playing Cornelius and Dolberg, it will be a good idea. Cornelius is a bit of a battering ram, which is, we don't want to play the ball too much in the air against the Aussies because they have a couple of big lads at the back. But he's also good with his feet. Dolberg, I really wish that he finds some form. Really good player. I've tipped him for Spurs before. Hasn't been doing too well in Nice recently, which is a shame. And also Damsgaard, I really hope that he's going to, find some form. It's sad to see. The Australians beat as I said, the Tunisians with a lovely header from Duke. We're troubled a little bit, so I think we can definitely get at them. The players who we should watch out for is obviously Aaron Moy. He used to play for Huddersfield when they first came up to the Premiership. He was an absolute revelation. I think he's playing for Celtic now, so very decent player. One of the guys that we were linked with, Sutar from Stoke, man mountain at the back for them. Great centre back. I'd love to see him at Spurs. I think we need to kind of concentrate on the right wing back position at the moment. And then Goodwin, who played really well against the French, didn't play so well against Tunisia and ended up coming off. Duke up front is a danger, big target man. My prediction for the game, I think we're going to win it 1-0. And it's going to come off Højbjerg's arse probably and spin over the top of that ex-Goon Orion's head, which would be lovely. So a little bit on the English. Absolutely cracking win against Iran. People slagging off Harry Kane for not scoring in that game. He assisted too. What more does this guy have to do? He's English, yeah. What does it matter what your club rivalry is? If you support the English team, you support their players. I find it absolutely amazing. What has this guy done apart from play for Tottenham? I don't understand why we're so hated, apart from by West Ham and Chelsea and Arsenal, yeah. But Man United, Liverpool, why do they? I don't understand what the hatred is, unless of course you have hatred like I do for Liverpool because I grew up surrounded by their fans. And even in the last few years when I was in England, I lived with some bloke who'd probably been to Anfield once and just was the most arrogant idiot about Liverpool, that they were the best team in the world when we were beating them twice a season back in the 2000s. So, yeah, I don't understand the hate for Kane. The game against the USA, Kane looked really off it. I think he really needs a rest. As Mr. Shearer said yesterday, which obviously he's going to say because his bias, along with the rest of the reporting lot's bias, is amazing, that maybe Callum Wilson should have come on for him. And I wouldn't be surprised if Callum Wilson gets at least 45 minutes. But then again, Southgate's not one to pick and choose, is he? McKennie, I thought, had a great game for the US. Another player we've been linked with. I'd like to see him come to Spurs. I think him and Højbjerg in the middle would be very, very interesting. Pulisic, if the Americans had someone who could finish, they could well have possibly won that match. And a big shout out to Slabhead, Harry Maguire. I thought he was absolutely immense in that game. Every single ball that came in over the top, he headed that away. He had a great game, and no surprise that he's in over Eric Dyer. They're quite similar kinds of players. They don't really they don't really garner a lot of compliments. They're both very good in the air, maybe not so good on the floor. But unfortunately, after Bellingham's great game in the first one against Iran, he didn't look so good against the Americans. I don't understand why they didn't press Zimmerman and Ream at centre-back. It's not exactly a world-class pairing, is it? So I think that was kind of disappointing. But I have to say I fancy them to top the group. And it wouldn't surprise me. Quarterfinals, semi-finals, even the final. No team, apart from maybe the French and the Spanish, has looked like complete world beaters. So, yeah, I think England could do well. I've got to give a shout out to Davo and his Welsh colleagues. I don't know what Hennessy was doing, coming out and getting a red card against who was it? Iran. Davis has been solid, as he always is. Rodon, I can definitely understand why we haven't kept him. I haven't seen him play for Rennes this season, so maybe that's a little bit unfair. But the two games that he's played for Wales, I've watched a fair amount of it, and he has been useless. I haven't been impressed with him. In the other games, Netherlands haven't looked particularly good. Lucky to beat Senegal. Were pretty lucky to draw with Ecuador. Our old boy Vincent Janssen played an absolute stinker in the first game and didn't even get on in the second game. They put on Weghorst instead. When Depay comes back, I think, or when Depay starts a match, I think that they're going through. I still think I'm kind of hoping that the Germans are going to go out tonight because I think that's going to be hilarious. Losing to Saudi Arabia, I mean, come on. The Saudis played the game of their lives. They'll never play like that ever again. And it was lovely to see. Sorry, that was Argentina. The Japanese, I don't even think they played that well. We all know they've got decent players. Sonny versus Bentancur, Uruguay versus South Korea. Didn't see a lot of the match. The South Koreans didn't look great, but then again, neither did the Uruguayans. It was lovely to see at the end of the match the embrace and a bit of a hug between Bentancur and Sonny. It just shows the the unity that Sonny brings to our dressing room. He loves everybody. Even when he fell out with Hugo, you could tell afterwards he was just dying to make up. He's such a nice human being, and I wish him the best. And I can't wait to get back to the football season. But there's a little matter of a Danish game on Wednesday against the Australians, and all I can say is "Kom så, Danmark." That was the worst attempt at kissing a badge ever. If you haven't watched us before, like and subscribe and hit the bell thingy. I'd like to give a big shout out to Bob Spurs. It's his 21st birthday again today. Good to have you still with us, mate. One of Spurs YouTube's nice guys, and always love your shows. So here's to another 21 years, mate. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Let's hope that the rest of the matches are more exciting than this one. And come on, you Spurs. Just one moment.